When I have thousands of certificates left in my cupboard, Speaker Ma'am, I still doubt whether I'll get jobs or not. Respected Speaker Ma'am and the members of Houses, as my Prime Minister and President have talked about the youth in India, more than 60%, that is 66 to 67% of the youth in India are still questioning whether they'll get jobs or not like me. Speaker Ma'am, in this condition, let me bring the ground reality check about number 1, NEP 2020, which focuses about the vocational training, and number 2 is about the Agnipath scheme. Yes, the Agniveer. Well, according to the NEP 2020, there are lots of problems. Number 1 is about the sound. Yes, the sound in India, about the language varieties, language differences. It's also one of the problems. And number 2 is about the North India. The non-inclusions about the chapters of North India in NEP 2020, and we are dreaming about the vocational training in India, the skillful development in India. Well, Speaker Ma'am, let me also say that there are lack of resources, infrastructures, communications, as well as trainers in India. For which, according to the economic survey reports, it says that according to the 2025 to 2026 reports, it says that 4.9 to 5.0 of the percentage of the youth are only trained formally. And number 2 is about the Agniveer schemes. It guarantees that the youths in India, that means there will be Army, Navy, and Air Force will have to train for 4 years. But the question is, after the 4 years, what will they do? Where will they go? Whether they will get jobs or not, or whether they will have to go for the higher stages. Well, to this, I know that my government cannot answer this. To this, I would also want to present one bill, Speaker Ma'am, that please implement it without any corruption. Please. The bill is National Skills Employment Guarantee Bill of 2026. The bill is to implement Clause 1, internship with financial assistance should be mandatory in all academic institutions and universities. And Clause 2, work vouchers should be provided by the government for certified interns. And Clause 3 talks about government should establish many public sector companies and industries. Then only we can go for the Viksit Bharat. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
The teams are open for direct introduction now.
Ma'am, as stated by the Honorable Whip, let me tell you, Madam, through Madam Speaker, let me tell you this. If you would have listened to my speech very carefully, you would have noticed that the skill gap you mentioned in the youth, it has been clearly mentioned that that is the sole reason this bill has been put forward. You mentioned infrastructure, let me clear it, 48,000 crore rupees, clearly as a financial architecture's first step. I have presented, Madam, let me complete. And after that, you have stated that women reskilling was not there. Let me tell you, 25,000 crore rupees over a span of 5 years, less than 1% of our union GDP, when the entire world is expecting more than 4.5 to 7.5%, we are being modest, respectful. And then you mentioned about skill crisis have not been mentioned. Madam, let me tell you, skill crisis, 80,000 crores for digital skilling under PM Vidya, 15,000 crores for industry academia partnership, 14,000 crores for even international skill mobility corridors have been anchored all respectfully under the Constitution and FRBM Act 2003.
Also, I would like to mention that the Honorable President of the Opposition said that we are not catering to the basic foundation, so we should not start decorating the rooftops. But let me decorate the rooftop and tell you that we have also mentioned that this act, that this bill will comply to Visakhapatnam Guidelines 1997, which also includes posh compliance. What are you suggesting? Viksit Bharat or Viksit backward?
Speaker Ma'am, may I answer this? Okay, I have already said, Government, that 4.9 to 5.0 is the only percentage which has been trained vocationally, skillfully. What about the rest 95%? What about the rest 95%?
Madam Speaker,
don't just lie, you're being just corrupted.
Madam Speaker, let me answer this for you. 60 years before us, 60 years you had before us, before 2014, how many national skill centers did you create? How many national skill centers did you form? 2.1% was what you had, and we got it till 5.1%, and in the next 5 years we will increase it. Madam, learn the skills, learn the numbers before you countercheck.
My dear President, I'm talking about the Viksit Bharat that you have introduced. The Viksit Bharat have introduced. And what are that? The Viksit Bharat that you have introduced. And talking about the rural employment. In India, we still have the high rate of unemployment of the youth.
We have introduced a very big here with amount, value.
What about the infrastructure? Okay, let me speak the fact. In North India, we still do not have the road connectivity. I still have to fly by the flight. And the way I still have to fly by the flight.
Madam Speaker, I would like your indulgence. Also, before you say that we are not complying with the things that you have mentioned, our bill complies with opening national skill centers, and we are also making provisions for Article 15 Clause 3, which says कि हम महिलाओं के लिए विशेष प्रावधान बता सकते हैं और हम
Madam, let us finish.
जायज तरीके से उसके लिए प्रोविजन बना रहे हैं, तो उसका मतलब ये है कि ये समानता फॉलो करेगा, हर
Time's up, team.
पहुंचेगा.
We'll move on to the question by the other teams. Now I kindly request the teams who have already raised questions, leaving them, we will move on to the other teams to raise a question for the government team.
My question is to government that since 2015, initiatives like Skill Vikas Yojana have trained millions youth, but their placement is still lacking in the skill development of them.
Madam, that's a wonderful question and I will answer it. As you stated, all the policies that have been implemented and you require there a gap between the implementation and the job facilities provided. So madam, let me tell you, job like India are very limited. From a country like India where 1.8 billion people are there, out of which more than 60% are youth, I would not expect my country to fulfill all of them. But madam, let me, and if you have further questions, I will answer that too. So the reason why we in this bill bringing here is that to increase that job implementation, to increase more opportunities so that the youth will inculcate better jobs, better opportunities, to inculcate skills in them, to get them more professionally and international skills so they could further get it.
But you stated that Skill India is certified India, but skills are achieved its true purpose only when it is translated into. It's not about just certification; it's about the employment. And what is your statement about the finance? How will you manage the finance?
Madam, we have certainly mentioned the numbers here along with the status, and that we have also mentioned that 1% of it, 1% it is the total amount, 1.2 lakh crores, stands 1% of Indian Union budget. And as you stated, how would we increase the job amount? By bringing more opportunities through international, national collaborations, to allowing youth to learn more than national, international skills. And through this only, madam, this bill is brought for the purpose to enlighten what has been presented and what further could be done for the development of youth.
But और मैं एक और बात ये कहना चाहूंगी कि आप हमारे बजट आवंटन पर कोई प्रश्न उठाए उससे पहले बता देना चाहूंगी. मैं जर्मनी का उदाहरण देना चाहूंगी. जर्मनी अपनी जीडीपी के 4.8% प्रति वर्ष स्किल एम्प्लॉयमेंट की तरफ, स्किल इंक्रीजिंग ड्राइव की तरफ लगाता है, जबकि हम यूनियन बजट का मात्र 1% लगाकर इतने सारी उपलब्धियां, इतना ज्यादा विकास लेकर आ रहे हैं. तो फिर आप किस मंच पर खड़े होकर, आप किस बेसिस पर हमारे बजट आवंटन पर प्रश्न कर रहे हैं, जबकि हम अपने विधेयक के मैं आपका बताना चाहूंगी कि हमारे विधेयक के क्लॉज नंबर 5 में ये बताया गया है, क्लॉज नंबर 6 में ये बताया गया है, फाइनेंशियल आर्किटेक्चर दिया गया है. तो मैं आपसे अनुरोध करूंगी कि आप सर्वप्रथम इस विधेयक को पढ़ लें, उसके पश्चात अपने प्रश्न हमारे समक्ष रखें. धन्यवाद.
Madam, allow it. Am I allowed?
We'll move on to the next team. Yeah, the team's question for the opposition.
Thank you for the recognition. All right, my question is, you might have certain suggestions for the bill that was proposed by the government, right? So I want to put forward this fact that there have already been carbon copy of National Skill University Bill of 2015 and PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which was both documented failures. Now in these was noticed the aboriginal communities of women were often overlooked. So how would you inculcate that in your bill, and how would you prove that that loophole will be filled by your bill?
Thank you, ma'am. Respected Speaker, ma'am. With this, I would want to say that you have mentioned about women. My dear, Viksit Bharat is not only for the women. Viksit Bharat has to be for everyone. First of all, it has to be for everyone. And second, yes, we have lots of schemes from the government side. But I have also mentioned in my bill that according to clause number 1, it says mandatory. So we have lots of skills. We have lots of lots of internships according to the institutions and universities. But there are still institutions which doesn't pay. The only paid ones are the IITs, which is also about 2,000 rupees per week. Can also be IIT Madras which pays about 50,000 per month. So I believe that it says mandatory, so every university, including private as well as government. So it's not only for the women, my dear.
Alright, ma'am, I got your point, but my question stands that I want to focus more on the minority aboriginal communities. I'm not asking you to overlook the other communities or the other people gender. I'm simply asking you, how would you bring forward those minority aboriginal communities which have been overlooked by the government? So what is your stance and what is your different bill of proposing that?
That I have said it is about the institution and universities. So you think the Indian government doesn't give place for the minorities inside the universities and institutions? We have. So my bill focuses about that. Okay, if you want about the minorities and all, then I have seen one thing, this, even for the women also, that in India, only 56% of the women host mobile phones. So I think the government can propose a scheme or a policy where mostly, like 100%, not even 100, but let's say 95-96% of the women can get mobile connectivity.
Ma'am, but again, putting it on the government, my question is, what different would you do so that other people are also recognized when it comes down to skill advancement, not just those proportionality of the the mid-major people and the education that is already being provided. So what is your difference? What difference does your bill bring to the table, not the government?
And when I become a government,
But ma'am, you are here to propose your bill. What is different? You can only become the government when you outshine the current government. The opposition can only be the government when you outshine what they already propose.
I have to get elected, no? You have to vote for me.
No ma'am, that's...
Okay, thank you team for your insights. We'll move on now to the first question to the government team.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have a question for government. What are the provisions in your bill which can transform brain drain into brain gain? And secondly, should India restrict outward migration of highly skilled professionals?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your question, and I shall answer this to you.